minutes or so, the screen gets scrambled. The colors disappear, and then it stops. Does that for a few minutes, and you restart, and then mysteriously stops, and you go, oh, that was weird. Or let's say calls drop. You have calls drop on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked somebody about that once at Nokia, Nokia. A tester at Nokia. I said, how come calls drop randomly? Like you haven't moved or anything, and it's just from one moment to the next. Why doesn't the phone just like keep trying instead of just instantly drop the call like that? And he said, well, no one really knows. There's lots of factors. I'm like, you don't know? Like you're a tester at Nokia, and it's like a big mystery. Don't you think like that would be the number one thing that you would be trying to do?
I think we miss the obvious so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, just even like the whole, why are we raising money for this much? Why can't we figure out a better way? Or why is somebody who's in that business not focusing on one of the main problems, and they're doing so many other things? I don't know. So, for instance, we're supposed to Skype right now, and they can't get Skype to work within the district.
Oh, really? They
Yeah.
can't get to work within the district?
Right.
Yes. What are they trying to do?
Just,
I mean,
well,
what are the symptoms? It just won't work at all?
It doesn't work with a Mac unless you open it up through Windows. Something with the filter.
So it's probably a network routing issue.
It's a routing
and this is one of the reasons why testing problems are unsolvable, because you could say, oh, this thing isn't working. It turns out that thing is working.
Right.
What's not working is your computer.
Or
your computer's
filter
working.
system
What
in
happened is you ran out of disk space. And that's why, if you run low on disk space, all kinds of weird lupus-like symptoms start appearing on your computer, and you go, my computer just seems to have AIDS or something. It just does weird things at random. One of the first things I'll do is I'll say, let's look at your disk space, let's look at your memory and see if you have lots of disk space and lots of memory, because if you get down on that, then these systems aren't designed to be reliable under those circumstances. See, computer manufacturers don't focus on rare things. They only focus on common things.
Less is more too. Trying to run too many pieces of software at the same time on the same machine is what's going to take up the disk space. I mean, that's the problem that I encounter.
Now, one of the things that you need to recognize is the people who create this stuff, they all have huge computers with vast hard drives, the fastest processors. So if you're using it on a slow system with not very much disk space, you're not using it in the way that they tested it, mostly. So one of the things I talk about is the need to create laboratories where you test on minimal configuration systems. And people are like, well, but do people really have computers like that anymore? Well, yeah, some people, like in schools, don't have the latest, coolest technology sometimes. Sometimes you can't afford to buy iPads for every student, can you?
Sometimes.
So.
Or the worst thing to me is that we have masses and masses of technology, but it's all blocked, or we have to wait for admin to approve. People are so busy with a whole bunch of other stuff, so we have all this stuff, but we can't use any of it for the ways we want to use it. To me, that's just like...
But that's another dilemma, because we certainly could release those restrictions, and then you'd have a real problem with viruses and hacking.
And that's why they don't.
Right.
I mean, it's not like I'm dissing them. It's a whole web of interconnected reasons. But
that's right.
It's frustrating to see it all, and we can't be using it the way that we want to use it. So it's just sitting there.
That's right, and that's why one of the great professions of the future is IT administrator. Those people will run the world, because the IT administrators control your access to the resources that you need. And if they do a bad job, then you just don't have access. And they can say, oh, there's no way to run that here, sorry. But really, there is a way to run it. They just don't know how to do it, or they're too lazy to find out. So the difference between a good IT person and a bad IT person is like the difference between a really good lawyer and a really bad lawyer. If you've been charged with murder, you know, the rich people get the really good lawyers, and the rich people get the really good IT people. And if you don't have a lot of money, you get the not so good IT people who don't necessarily know how to make